I personally think this is the hardest scenario we've done. You see someone sitting on the edge of the overpass with their feet hanging over the guardrail. Would you stop, call 911, or would you brush it off?
Those that are dedicated to harm themselves and are sure that that's what they want to do, they don't hesitate. I've seen people park on an overpass, get out of their car and sprint and dive over the edge. It's just, they're dedicated, they know what they're going to do, and it's over. It may feel like their only way out at the moment, but there is still, in my mind, this moment that maybe I can reach them. Is this going to be my out? And I want to provide an alternative. The problem with a suicidal person is that if they follow through, they don't get to have that moment of regret.
There is no later.
What the hell is going on?
What's going on, guys? Welcome to UNAFRAID Podcast. We're going to go over scenarios. Again, we have 2 scenarios to cover that we are pulling from the Contingent Group Instagram page and Facebook, where we talk about security and risk mitigation processes there. So we got Josh again. Thanks for joining us, brother. The reason for these scenarios is to get your brain thinking about certain situations. Oftentimes, victims find themselves in a situation they've never given 2 thoughts to it or just a thought to it whatsoever, and they do not know what to do. So the best thing to do is actually go out and train for certain specific scenarios, but this is an easy way to just get you thinking about, hey, what would I do? What should I do? What could other people do? And just kind of bring in the reality of what happens around the globe. So that is the purpose of this podcast, is to just get you thinking. And hopefully you find some weak areas, which is good. Then you can go fix them, identify it and go fix them, which I think we all have that issue. Yeah. You know, we need to fix this part or get stronger in this part where, you know, one section of our life might be really good and the other one's a little bit weaker. So obviously we need to bring that up. So with that being said, you want to go ahead and take us on our first one?
Yeah, for sure. Also, let's add, it's not legal advice. This is just kind of what we would likely do in that situation. I think some of these, when we were talking about it earlier, it's like, hey, this is what I would want to do, and then this is what I probably should do.
Great point.
You know, and then the other thing too is that, like Eddie was saying, like you were saying, dude, it's about just hopefully that you're playing scenarios out in your head, and you can be doing it as you're driving, as you're at your kid's school event. You can just, your body won't go where your mind hasn't been, right? So just kind of get that OODA loop started early.
What is OODA loop?
It's observe, orient, decide, act. So many processes need to happen in your mind before you act, right? And so if we can get started on that by being observant, right? So you're constantly looking around, constantly scanning. You orient yourself with the situation. And then you need to make that decision. We're trying to close that gap with scenario training, that gap between observe and act. Let's try to shrink that down. And this is a good way to do that.
Absolutely.
So the first one we got, it's you're driving, and as you approach a stoplight, the car next to you cuts you off and slides in front of you into your lane. You honk the horn, and now you're both coming to a stop at the stoplight. As soon as he stops in front of you, he gets out of his car and starts walking towards your car. So kind of painting the picture, you've got the jackwagon that likes to wait to the last second, cuts you off, and then rather than falling in behind you, and then now you're both coming to the stoplight together. You know, you honked at him. Maybe you sent him the one finger wave or something like that. Maybe a little bit of aggression on your part. And now that you're both stopped, now he gets out, he's yelling and screaming and come back at your car. What's your move?
Ooh, what's your move? Okay, this goes back to the what I want to do and what I should do. If he gets out of his car and he's coming at me, immediately I'm assessing the situation. I'm assessing him. I'm looking for bulges. Where's his hands going? Is there other people in the car? What am I dealing with? What is the physical stature of this man? Is it a threat? Is he carrying something? All these things are going to be going through my mind. What kind of car is it? Yeah. Is it just a business dude that might be like in a Benz or something that's like getting back from work, stressed out? Are they stumbling? Or is it a beater that kind of, you know, dressing thuggish, ruggish, and I should like be weary about it. Plain and simple is no matter what they look like, what they're driving, it could be a threat of the worst kind, no matter what. And as you being a cop, you know that more than anyone. But based off that situation, I would honestly want to confront him, get out and confront him.
For sure.
That is not, I will tell you this right now, that is not the right answer. Right. And one thing, and I think we briefly mentioned this, is this tactic is used is get a diversionary vehicle person to start something kind of sleight of hand. Look at this, but something else is going on, and a car could be pulling up behind you, and to take your car, if they have a personal issue with you or whatever it might be, especially whatever you're driving, what people perceive you to be or what have. So these are all things that need to be thought about. But in reality, what I should do and probably would do is I would try to find my way, which is that importance of stopping, behind the car to where the front of my car can see the bottom of the back tires. So I have enough room to maneuver away from the car and not get boxed in if something does come behind me and pin me in. But that's the difference. I would want to confront him and be like, hey, dude, because the way I look at it is if I stop this dude from doing this now and show him like, hey, this isn't okay. Yeah. But really, I'm just kind of going to his level is maybe I could stop him from doing this another time. Yeah. But in reality, I should not do that because he could have a gun, shoot me, and that's it. It's not worth it. Yeah. We could get in a huge brawl and I get injured, be paralyzed, or I get sued and I'm in court and spending X amount of dollars. Is it worth it for this? No, it's not. So I would avoid and I would leave.
Sure. So it kind of comes down to the situation where it's like, okay, so this seems like a good idea now in the heat of the moment. Right. Is it going to feel
the flesh is like,
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. So like, how is this going to feel if you go out there and you knock him out and now you're in handcuffs for assault or, or let's say, maybe he falls and hits his head and now he's seriously injured and you're looking at more issues. Or like you said, if you've got your kids along, I think it would make a big difference. Your family's along. It may seem like a good idea at the time, but if it goes sour, was it worth it at all?
Nothing will ever beat avoiding and live to fight another day. Yeah. It just, you can't beat it. Yeah. No matter, that's the pride and I'll give you justice coming into play. And it's not worth it, man. It's not worth it.
So you mentioned can you elaborate a little bit on that, kind of the ambush thing? Is that something that you've seen overseas?
I have. So you can, you get a car and it stops, kind of ticks you off. And it's just really to get your eyes off of what's really going on. And that could be another vehicle pulling up behind you. And a couple guys could get back and be maneuvering on your vehicle while you're concentrating up here. And they've got their foothold to do whatever their intent was to steal your car, get your money, maybe take a possession or an asset that you possess or something. I don't know. But yes, absolutely. That's definitely something that's used. Like the diversion piece is huge. Yeah. And that's a great way to do it right there.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that when I was looking at this.
That's the thing is like, it depends on, again, the situation. Who are you? Where are you? What are you doing? And maybe it's a huge mistake, but the mistake doesn't change the fact that now you're in this situation and now you have to deal with it. Yeah. So that's why it's like, don't get boxed in, which is why we talk about like, hey, pull back. I think we've done a contingent group has done a couple posts on keeping that distance. And what I mean by keeping that distance, and we'll throw a picture up here to kind of show what that looks like, is the hood of the car, the top of your hood of your car. You should be able to see the back tires, the bottom where the tires meet the pavement of the car in front of you. And what that does, it gives you enough maneuverability room to move out away from the car and not get boxed in. Sure. If you're too close, then you got to reverse. You got to back up, and you're playing the Austin Powers game of getting back and forth. But if somebody's right behind you and their intent is to box you in, you're done. You've got to take off on foot. Yeah. And okay, so do you have kids now? It's not an option anymore. Right. Are you carrying? Yeah. These are questions. Yeah, this is why we go through all this stuff. It's a lot. So based off of what I've said, I'm sure you've got the similar reasoning behind all this. But what's your take? What's your I want to do, and this is what I would do.
The same. Yeah, the same. But I have seen, being a cop, how there's a huge spike in road rage shootings and road rage killings, right? And so we're kind of at a time in our world where these encounters are not, I mean, you're not thinking about anything other than this guy pissed you off because he cut in front of you, right? I get it. It's annoying. And then it quickly spirals into shootings or stabbings, right? So it's just kind of, it's gotten to the point where absolutely avoid, because they are going to escalate.
Is it worth it?
No.
Is it worth me shooting, stabbing, or getting shot or stabbed over a traffic infraction or something?
Yeah. No, it's just not. And that's just it. It's not. Okay, yeah, sure. Some people would, I guarantee some people are watching this and they're saying, I mean, yeah, I'd let them come up to my car, and then when they got to my car, I'd shoot them. Okay, that sounds all macho, but that's stupid. I mean, again, it doesn't matter how big of a jerk this dude is. When you whittle it back down, when you bring it back down, the dude cuts you off, he's pissed off, he's having a bad day, and you're going to be willing to, I get it, you got to protect your family, but that, like we've talked about before, that has to be a last, like worst case scenario. That has to be your last resort. Deadly force has to be your last resort. And so it's just none of that's worth it. It's just not worth it at all. Why let it escalate? Just get out of there.
Yep. I mean, and really we can just switch this whole scenario. We do a little honk. The car stops, really bad day. The guy gets out and just starts blazing a gun, just like boom, boom, boom. I mean, then what? Now what's your move? It's like that's why it's so important to carry. Understand that you can use your vehicle as a weapon. That's what
I was just going to say.
And you have, and still, again, back to the basics is leaving that space to get away. Get kids' heads down, spouses' heads down if they're in the vehicle, whatever it is. So, I mean, it can, and this stuff happens. This isn't like, hey, let's just make up something we pulled from the air. But no, this actually happens. So.
Yeah, and that's why, again, that's a cool part about kind of reviewing these. It gets the mind going. That's a huge point. Like he said, if somebody gets out of his car, and he starts shooting at me, I'm not taking the time to draw my gun and try to shoot through my windshield and then try to put the bullets through that same hole in the windshield because, you know, it'll deflect if you're not. Your car, just run them over. That's what I would be doing, you know. But I wouldn't have thought of that if, you know, I hadn't done scenario-based training before or watched videos before. Just put that in your mind. Just get ideas in your head.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is just to get it and think about it because this can happen. And the last place you want to start thinking about this is when you're actually in the situation. You're like, oh boy, what do I do? And you have never thought about it. These little thoughts, if your brain has thought about it, will take you to, okay, that's right. And then you'll do whatever it is, you know. Obviously, hands-on, doing the reps, obviously, is way better than just, you know, talking about how we're doing right now. But this is better than nothing for sure. Yeah. All right, so are we good on that one?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to read the second one. I'll let you nail it first. All right, so the next one, all right, here we go. You are driving home from work, and as you are on an overpass, you see someone sitting on the edge of the overpass, crying, with their feet hanging over the guardrail. Would you stop? Would you continue to call 911, or would you brush it off? What's your move? All right, so I'm driving. We'll just say I had a long day. I don't want to deal with anyone. I just want to get home. I want to go see my family. I want to just relax, get some food. I see someone that's clearly troubled on the side of a bridge, and it looks like to me, I'm connecting two and two here, and the dude's about to jump off. What would I do? What would you do? What is your call?
Yeah, there's a lot to think about in this one. There's a ton of variables here, so it depends on. The first thing that I think of is depends on A, who's with me. Is my family with me or not? B, what does this overpass look like? Is it a bridge where there's a shoulder that I can pull off of and safely kind of walk back? Like, is it one where there's a sidewalk maybe on the bridge?
Yeah, because you could stop and help and get nailed by a car.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So it's like, or is it one of the big flyovers? You know, here in Dallas-Fort Worth, we have these giant flyovers where it's 100 feet down, 200 feet down, and there is no shoulder. There's nowhere to go. That's going to, like, if a dude is standing or sitting on the edge of a flyover, I'm probably going to stop at the end of the bridge and call 911. And it depends on if my family's along, if I can pull off the roadway safely, because it does come down to people are not paying attention. Those are usually single lane. There's a good chance you're going to get hit by a car.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing to think about, so let's say it's a safe bridge that I'd be able to walk back to them. I don't have my family along, or if I'm able to get my family to a safe place nearby and I can walk back, I'm going to walk back. As I'm on the phone with 911, as I'm walking up to them, I'm probably going to be calling 911 and telling them where I'm at. That's the main thing, because even if they don't understand what the situation is, the first thing you want to give 911 is your location. It's going to be the first thing that they ask. And I know you're going to want to tell the whole story about what's going on, but give them a good location so that way they can get officers rolling to you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, if I don't know my location, I can send my location to a specific number, correct?
There is some text to 911 agencies out there, not all.
Okay, gotcha.
And there is limited capabilities to, kind of ping you where you're at, but that takes time.
Gotcha.
It's not as simple as here's a pin drop where I am. So the main thing is to the best of your ability, get your location.
Yeah, with all the maps and apps and stuff or whatever, I feel like that'd be easy to do.
Yeah, but it just takes more time. So if you can be like, hey, this is the road that I'm on, give a cross street and get them close, right? They'll be able to figure it out from there. The other thing is that as you're walking up, you're giving as much of the story as you can, and then I would probably set my phone down or put it in my pocket, and I would try to engage. It depends on the situation, because
so you're going.
I am.
You're engaging.
Yes,
okay.
As long as I can keep my family safe. It's not on. I'm not going to walk up a flyover overpass. If I can safely get to that person, I am going to slowly start walking up to him. And as I'm walking up, I'm assessing. Is he talking to himself? Is he mumbling? Is he having delusions? Are you answering this because you are a cop? Are you answering this? Let's take the cop piece out. Let's take that out.
If that's possible. I don't know if that's possible.
Taking the cop piece out, it may change for a lot of people.
Okay, gotcha. It's kind of your responsibility.
It is. But I also feel a moral obligation to do as well.
Okay.
I mean, that's why I became a cop in the first place anyway, right?
Respect,
so even if as a civilian, without training, these can be such unbelievably volatile situations. Most people's, the general public's best bet is likely to, if you can pull over safely, call 911 and start getting some professional help there for sure. So that's probably what the vast majority of people should be doing. Again, kind of what we should do and what we would do. So maybe I shouldn't do what I'm about to explain that I would do, but it's just from my heart, from my gut, that's what I would do. Again, I would begin to question, hey, maybe since this guy, those that are dedicated to harm themselves and are sure that that's what they want to do, they don't hesitate. I've seen people park on an overpass and get out of their car and sprint and dive over the edge of a bridge. It's just, they're dedicated, they know what they're going to do, and it's over. In my mind, if somebody's sitting on the edge of the bridge crying, they are dealing with a battle, and it's an option, and it may feel like their only way out at the moment, but there is still, in my mind, this moment that maybe I can reach them, right? But again, due to, if this guy has severe mental illness and it maybe is having hallucinations and stuff like that, as I'm walking up, if they're talking to themselves and they're talking, crazy stuff, if they're talking about hallucinations and delusions and stuff like that, I'm probably, even wanting to, I'm probably going to back up and back out, because those can turn, they can shift and then come at you instead, right? And then you can actually make the situation worse, because it's likely just you. And the people that I guess I'm kind of thinking about that I want to go see if I can help would be someone who's just dealing with a loss in their family or financial issues or something like that, and just go engage them to just try to buy some time. Because if they're sitting there, they're crying, they are deciding, is this going to be my out? And I want to provide an alternative. Mm-hmm. I at least want to get them out of the crisis that they're in this moment, to try to, it's the same thing as like, hey, what I want to do on that last scenario, what I want to do is I want to go out and throat punch the dude, right? Later, that's probably, once things have calmed down, that's going to be, or I'm going to realize that was not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
The problem with a suicidal person is that if they follow through, they don't get to have that moment of regret, right?
There is no later.
So it is just a matter of just trying to establish a rapport with them. So if it's somebody that's dealing with an emotional crisis and you can get them talking to you, a lot of times I would just ask questions and then just let them talk, let them rant, let them just try to, I'm not going to dive after them. I'm not going to tell them, hey, it's not that bad. It's no big deal. I understand what you're going through. None of that. It's just going to start a dialogue. And a lot of it is buying time until you can get other resources there.
Right.
You know, so I think it's just important that it's, you know, I do without question feel that I would, if I had this situation, it may not be the wisest situation, but I feel like God would have put me in that position for a reason. And I do feel like that I would hopefully be able to make a change. Maybe not. I don't know. But if I can do it safely, then I'm gonna give it a go. Just kind of at least go up and assess the situation and see if I can't get him talking. What do you think?
Yeah, like as we're sitting here and I'm listening to you and we're going through this scenario, and I'm playing, you know, what you're talking, I'm kind of visualizing you going to this man on a bridge, and it's a very, I personally think this is the hardest scenario we've done. Because there's so many things. And you said something that kind of jumped out at me, dealing with a battle, and our audience knows what that is. I know what that is. You know what that is. We all have these battles. Another thing you said is that, you know, what I was picturing you do, you know, you're getting out of the car and you're assessing. I'm getting closer. I'm assessing. He says certain things. I'm assessing. He does certain things. I'm assessing. I see this. I'm assessing. Throughout the stages of this interaction, we assess. Right. We reassess. Right. So we might have been initially doing this, but this happened. Now we're going to do this. For sure. So, and I think that's very important. It's not like really a cut and dry thing. Right. And it's kind of like with any of these actually, is we're assessing, okay, this happened. All right, boom, which is, you know, contingencies, why we need to be on our feet and train and all that stuff. But, I think for this, like just knowing the scenario, what I initially received or think I would do is if I clearly knew this guy was about to off himself or get rid of himself, I would stop and I would call 911. I would not engage unless I was prompted by the Lord, go talk. This is what you need to be doing. And it was hey, very, very clear, you must go. Otherwise, I think I would just monitor and wait for, you know, authorities that have the resources to do this. Unless I was told otherwise, I probably would hold back, call, and just monitor. Now, during that monitor, just like we just talked about, as I'm assessing, if something happens, you know, maybe he's standing and there's a way to get to him where he can't see me and I can just literally just grab him and pull him down and hold him down. Yeah, then that's what I would do. But I would definitely want to be prompted. And I think one thing we need to think about is going back to the battles thing is that there's 4 areas I believe that we need to worry about. We need to worry about the mental, the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual battles that we all face. Like they're all different. I mean, you might have just found out, the guy might have found out he's diagnosed with something. Right. He could have a spiritual battle going on, which is a whole nother realm of topics. He could have a seriously mental illness that is, you know, influenced by other things, or just having a crazy breakdown based off of tragic events that have happened in his life. And it's not really just one thing. It's accumulative of these things happening. So you got to like think about that as like, we don't know what it is. And all those could be like, hey, I'm having a bad day. I'm just, wanting attention, or I think at the moment this is right and I'm not going to do it, but I feel like I should. Or it's like, screw everyone. I'm off myself after I blast all these people, anyone that comes near me.
Yeah.
I mean, these are things that you got to think about. I mean, he could have a gun in his pants or in a holster, and the bridge has nothing to do with anything. He just wants an audience. Then he can shoot himself.
For sure.
So, I mean, all these things, and that whole thing is back to that, the battle piece is like, what is going on? And if you add the influence of substance, that just levels it up another, situation where it takes some serious stuff. But initially, going based off the scenario before I go down the rabbit hole, which is always fun, is I would stay back, monitor the situation based off of the bridge. Can I park? Can I stay? Unless, being prompted like, hey, we need to go do something, we need to go talk. And then, that would be my good. That's a tough one, man. Cause you're like, dude, I don't want that to be, that would suck. It's like, you just drive by,
right?
An hour later, you're watching the news. A guy just jumped to his death.
Yeah.
He left a note. All I wanted to do was to be loved or someone to talk to me.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? I mean, I wouldn't want that on my conscience.
Yeah. And that's just it. That's what it comes down to. And that's where I feel like I would at least go again without. There does come a point of personal responsibility as well.
I agree with that 100%.
And so,
and sorry to interrupt, but in a world that's all about me, very rare it seems.
Yeah.
And that needs to change.
And just like so many of these situations, no matter what the scenario is, things change when I have family along, right? So, I know that like on the scenario that we went through where there was like a disturbance and a shooting on a football field, we had different views on that. And I do tend to lean towards I'm taking care of mine, right? Because those people have placed themselves in a situation. So, especially for something like this, knowing how volatile that they can be, and it, like you said, it runs such a huge gamut. It runs from, hey, this guy just lost his job, to this guy, is having huge, like serious delusions and hallucinations. I'm not putting my family in harm's way to even go feel it out, right? If I can get them to a safe spot, or I'm by myself and I can walk up there again, I'm at least I want to go check. I want to go see what I can do. And I mean, if nothing else, maybe you can be a little bit of a distraction until officers can get there. They have different resources.
Yeah, if it accomplishes the mission.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about, that's the suicide thing is really big. Is really big. People seems that they're not valuing, the importance of this life that we were given. But if you seriously, you see something like this, or you're starting to, your intuition, you said gut feeling, or you're being prompted to look into something, pay attention to it, get them help, talk. A lot of people just need someone to talk to, and try to suppress the suicide thing, especially in the veteran community. We go to these substances, and it does not help the situation. It's a Band-Aid. And when that Band-Aid falls off, it's a volcanic eruption. And I know this from experience, that I don't want anyone to ever go through. But it's a very serious thing. And you deal with the suicide piece a lot. So is there any advice you can give to us out there that are just, we're living our life and then something just doesn't seem right? Can you give us maybe just a step one in what to do instead of like,
Yeah. Well, let me start with, if anybody's listening to this podcast now that does have suicidal thoughts, in my particular job at the police department, I do see suicide often, right? And what the hardest part for me to observe, and the biggest thing that I've noticed, is that I go there and I talk to these family members, and their loved one is now gone. And almost every single family member will say, I wish that they would have just said something. I wish that I would have known. What you're doing is, by taking your life, is that you're releasing yourself from the garbage that you're dealing with. But it doesn't go away. You're transferring it to your family. you're transferring it to your loved ones. And you're amplifying it, because now not only are you've just taken your grief and your pain, and you can imagine you losing your loved one, right? And how difficult that would be. That's what you're giving your family. And so I would just ask you to take a moment to think about that it may seem like an out, but it's not, because you're just transferring your grief to your family and your loved ones. Something for the family members or friends, if you think that your family or friends are dealing with stuff, you think about it like if you're in school or college or whatever, and you're listening to the teacher and the teacher's trying to explain something to you and you're just not getting it, no matter how they explain. And then they say, well, does anybody have any questions? You're probably not going to raise your hand, right? Well, a lot of people wouldn't raise their hand because they're ashamed or shy or whatever. But if the teacher comes around or catches you after class, be like, is this making sense to you? And they open that door, I guarantee you would feel more inclined to talk about it. Same thing. Just ask them. And don't be afraid to be like, hey, other people have been dealing with what you're dealing with, and they've taken their life over it. Is that something you're thinking about doing? Like, put it out there, because it may be the little push that they need to start talking. So I would definitely not be afraid to, I wouldn't go up and be like, you think about offing yourself today, dude?
Yeah, probably a good thing.
But, I mean, put it out there. Be like, hey, it doesn't seem like you're doing well. It seems like you're dealing with some stuff. Like, can we talk about it?
Makes me think of the Wayne Gretzky quote, you miss every shot you do not take.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you just can't, you have to just start the dialogue. There's a lot of times that they're dealing with that, they're not going to want to talk about it. And it may just be a friend or a family member, or sometimes even a stranger, just coming up, putting their hand on your shoulder and being like, what's up? Like, you might even be a little forceful with it. Don't ask them, hey, is there something going on? If you see that something's going on, be like, what's up? Tell me what's going on. Don't even give them an out.
I think a lot of this is where that listening to the gut or being prompted to do things, you need to pay attention to your inner voice. Or like, hey, what should I be doing in this, in this moment? Because it's a situation where the wrong thing said or action taken could be bad.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it.
Yeah. And I think it would be unbelievably rare. I think people are afraid to bring it up because they think they're going to push them. I cannot think of a scenario where you asking them is going to accelerate them wanting to hurt themselves.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So why not? You're not losing anything.
Yep.
The other thing too, if you are having suicidal thoughts or just need somebody to talk to, I don't know if you know, but you can call or text 988.
988. We'll put that up on the screen right now. This isn't a suicide hotline, but bottom line is information needs to get out. And
for sure.
I didn't know that until we did this scenario.
Yep. And then 988lifeline.org is also a website that y'all can go to, and they have resources there where you can chat with people and stuff like that. So if you're feeling that way at all, like, just give it a shot. You just never know.
Yeah. That's very good advice. Thank you for that. Just remember, like, just to close this out, do you have anything you want to add or anything? Just to close this off is we all go through storms. We all go through situations that aren't just plain old, they suck. Is that storm does not last forever. And if you're failing at something or, something's not working your way, just remember the failure piece is not final. That is not the end of the story. It continues. And it just, honestly, if we switch our mindset, like, hey, I'm going to take this situation, I'm going to learn the valuable lesson from it, makes me stronger. And now I'm going to go on to the next one, because there will be a next one, and just bring it on. Let's go. All right. Don't say why me, say try me, and let's fight.
I like that.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us on Unafraid. If this could help somebody, especially the second scenario, anyone in your circle or your family, please pass it to them, or take the words, make them your own, and just get the message across to them, because this stuff is a big deal. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We will see you next time. Take it easy.